Oh, you stopped counting, and I was all right. Okay, welcome everybody. Surprise, we're live. Um,
Chaos.
so welcome to
Alrighty.
another exciting adventure into the world of Taldorei. Subtitle: Fields of Wonder. We have a great show for you tonight. Can't wait to get into it. But before we do, I would like to introduce our lovely cast this evening. We're going to start out with Rain. Who are
Oh,
you, and
hey y'all.
what are we playing tonight?
I am going to play, I think maybe a Kinku tonight. Just kidding. It's too cold over there. I'm going to be playing Big Mama Mocha. She is a female halfling druid, Circle of the Moon on top of that. And her pronouns are she, her.
Wonderful, Alex. Why don't you go next?
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex, or Ziva RPG. I'll be playing Hosen Sunhelm, the Rune Knight Fighter and Rogue multiclass little guy. His pronouns are he, him as well.
Wonderful, Smitty.
Hey everybody, I am Smitty. I'll be playing a life cleric, Kenku. Pronouns they, them, situation dire. And yeah, just hoping y'all join us for the ride.
And Jacob.
What's their name, Smitty?
I'll tell you in just a second.
Hey, I set you up for it by accident. Failure on my part. Anywho, fail. Hi everyone. Jacob Plick here. Do welcome Jacob everywhere that I can be found on the internet. And tonight, as per usual, I'll be playing Cinnamon Garrus. He is a Harangon wildfire druid. I almost forgot what he is. He uses he/they pronouns.
And I am your game master, your dungeon master, the MC of events this evening. And before we get into it, as always, we like to thank our artists for the work that they have provided to this enterprise. So for Happy Capster took care of our overlays, which you can see there, the fantastic work there. On top of those overlays, you can see the character art that Lynn has provided at Gremlin Art. And in a minute we will show you the promo, the intro that so many games has put forward. But before we get into things, Jacob, is there anything that you would like to tease, announce, promote, plug?
Yeah, I would love to actually. So, if you've been living under a particular rock, you haven't paid attention to our Twitter account, which you should totally do that. Because yesterday, after teasing it for between our channel and Maddie's channel for the last almost month, excited to officially, super duper officially announce Arkanold University Schools of Evolvement and Longevity, run so wonderfully by just as Bill mentioned, won so many games. That'll be premiering on January the 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Amphitheater. That's on a Thursday, if you didn't know. And we announced our first two cast members. The first being, obviously Maddie, who's running it. And then on the player side of the screen, so to speak, one, April Raygun, who you may know from usually a 5-year Redwall story and Fables Once and Future and a bunch of other really cool shows. And me, myself, and I. So it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait for you to see the final three cast members that are yet to be announced. It's a really cool table. I'm so stoked. It's going to be super awesome. So yeah, stay tuned. Back to you, Bill.
All right, I think that's everything. So as we go into the game here, I would like to invite you all into ADVENTURE. This is best for you and me.
Is he?
Oh, wait, we're live?
Hold on, let me use the restroom.
All right, so let's get into it here. All right, let's just get some music going and we'll get into the recap here. So, in the last episode, the crew, Sans second, finished up a long rest. And after deciding what to do, said goodbye to Auntie Chai, and then had an extremely heartfelt burial for Cinnabon's parents. They then realized that they had a significant amount of druids amongst them, which would allow them to make it to Westrun in just one day. They then dodged the shield's barricade and then set out along the road. Meanwhile, Second wiggled out of Yeti's grasp and began waiting for their friends to return. After rebuffing a few unsuccessful attempts by the residents of the tower to engage with Second, they made another, more daring escape plan, which resulted in them quickly adjusting their altitude. They also then got a long rest and then sent a message to Big Mama, letting her know that they were alive. However, there are some still unresolved location issues, as it appears as though they are alone in the mountains, which is where I would like to pick it up. Okay. So, second, before we start getting into things here, I want to ask you. You've now taken a long rest, and you see, as we talked about last time, there far off in the distance is the Umber Hills. You feel as though this is going to be a really long journey ahead of you, and as I mentioned in the recap, you are currently alone. I want to ask a personal question. How is Second feeling right now? Like, what is going through their mind?
Second is feeling of two minds currently. They are predominantly feeling lonely, abandoned, forsaken, perhaps a little foolish for trusting and relying on others. On the other hand, they also are almost calmly in their element of being alone, and kind of giving into that like base level brain of survival that they know very well. That's how they're operating, trying not to let what they feel to be recent, perhaps foolish decisions cause them any undue worry or concern, as they just concentrate on staying hidden, alive, etc.
And I'm curious, a lot of the words that you use to describe Second's current mentality seem to be in line with possibly previous iterations of being alone, forsaken, and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is Second's plan? What are you doing?
Second is cautiously trying to move down the mountain. They are very wary of the fact that the golden cloaked mage had a bird, as they imagine it can probably see them on the mountaintop very easily. So they're trying to keep an eye on the skies. So they're not moving probably all that fast. But, in absence of a belief that their friends would somehow get to the top of the mountain directly, there's no reason for them to stay there. They just need to get away from this as quickly as possible, as safely as possible, I'd say first.
Okay, so Second is kind of moving down the mountain, not necessarily to get out into the world, but more to hide from the golden cloaked person up top, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you continue down the mountain somewhat, and you probably go maybe 15, 20 minutes. And what you see in front of you is a continuation of these, craggy outcroppings, and more or less what you're doing is you're following kind of like this, for lack of a better term, valley that is in between kind of these two large um, portions of the mountain that are on the left and on the right of you. And just to set the scene a little bit more, and to remind you that it is also extremely cold, for all of the protection that you think is giving you inside of this little valley, it is the crosswinds are not as bad. What happens is every once in a while there's a gust of wind that comes up directly from in front of you, and I don't know, maybe you like pull your cloak a little bit closer as the wind blows your feathers around. Um, and as you're going along, as I mentioned, maybe 25, 30 minutes now, you hear something. In fact, you hear two things. One is feral. It is some sort of creature that is making a low growl. And you can't see it at the moment, but you can tell that it's close. And you can tell that this little valley that you're going in curves off to the left. And um based upon your stats and whatnot, it's fair for you to assume that it is more or less right around the corner. This growling and scratching of some sort of nails on stone. The other thing that you hear is whimpering. Something is it's tough for you to say that something is crying, but if there were to be an animal version of crying, this would be it.
And this is just directly ahead of me.
As I mentioned, there is a little curve
like
to the
around
left.
that curve. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And it is close enough. And I think when the wind blows towards you, you can get a better sense of that sound. And yeah, I would say, this curve happens probably about 100 feet in front of you and curves around, so that if you were to follow the path maybe 200 feet, that would be a place where it would be out of your sight.
I will slowly, carefully move towards the noise. And as I do so, I will take out from my rations any dried meat I might have.
Yeah, you have Giuseppe's hard salami,
Mhm.
and it's a full stick.
Okay.
Okay. So, are you trying to be stealthy with your approach?
Absolutely.
Okay, please make that check.
Yeah. Disadvantage. Here we go. Okay, not bad. 16.
Okay, not bad. So you have really no difficulty in approaching. There are no loose rocks, and so it's a little bit easier for you to approach in this area. Um, and let me maybe describe a little bit about the surroundings a bit more, so that you can possibly use some of those surroundings if necessary. So, as I mentioned, you have these kind of smooth rock faces on either side of you. Off to your left-hand side, the rock face is not very tall. It might be 25 feet tall, and then it kind of like levels out onto a hill of sorts, and then you assume on the other side it kind of either flattens out or goes down. On the right-hand side, it just goes all the way straight up for another maybe 1,000 feet or something. There are a few small brushes, like at the barrier between the tree line of like mountains. It doesn't just become like pine trees, right? It becomes like small brush and whatnot. So that's kind of dotting the landscape at the moment right now. Um, and and yeah. So what would you like to do?
I'm going to keep moving closer until I can just peek enough around the corner to see what's making the growling noise and, if possible, also the whimpering.
Okay, perfect. Would you like to make a perception check, please?
23.
Very good. Okay, so when you peek around the corner, you see the two sources of these sounds. The one appears to be an extremely large mountain lion. And this mountain lion is pawing around and trying to use its claws to get at something. And because you see that this mountain lion is trying to get at something, you are able to see what it is. And hidden amongst a mixture of a pile of rocks that have just sort of formed itself into a little bit of a wall. And a combination of that and some brush that is extremely thorny. The mountain lion is trying to get in to this and is being rebuffed because it's like hurting itself on those thorns. And frustrated, then the mountain lion kind of moves around and tries to get into another direction and whatnot. And it's kind of doing this repeatedly. As you see its hand go in and then pull out, you are able to see inside of it two very small creatures. Um, and and now that you see them, you see there is something inside of there, and you hear the whimpering coming from inside. You spend a little bit more time to investigate, and just because you got a 23, you see what look like very small amalgamations of creatures. There's something that you've never seen before. It looks like it's got this beak with these feathers, and give me a second as I pull up an image. And he's got these very small, basically ineffective wings on its back, and you can see that it's like holding up its hands, and as it's doing so, you can see that there are these claws on them, and you can see that the head and the body don't exactly match with each other. The head sort of seems more like an eagle or some sort of bird of prey, and the body just seems more almost like a combination of possibly a lion or something like that.
Okay. Do I think intuitively that the mountain lion will get to these creatures at some point by persistence, or do I think they'll tire or partially get too hurt and leave at some point?
I feel like this is a good nature check.
14.
Man, you've been doing pretty good rolls so far. So with the 14, you don't know a whole lot about the activities of mountain lions, but what I will tell you is that the mountain lion itself does seem to be gaunt.
I will cut off a piece of Giuseppe's hard salami and I will throw it at the mountain lion.
Okay. I would like for you to make an animal handling check, please, with advantage.
17.
The spices contained within Giuseppe's hard salami are so potent, so fragrant that the mountain lion, at least for a moment, um, hears this thud come down next to them, and then sort of looks over at this thing and looks around for a couple seconds because this hard salami just kind of showed up out of nowhere, and then pounces on it, rips it to shreds, and is contained at least for a moment in eating the salami. What would you like to do?
I'd like to lob another piece of salami like 10, 15 feet over its head further down the trail.
Okay. Throw. That is hmm. Is there a skill for throwing things? Is it athletics?
It's I mean, it depends on if you're trying to be like it's like an improvised weapon, like
Yeah, I was thinking that, but he's not attacking anything.
No.
I'd like to acrobatically throw this if possible.
Negotiation, very nice.
Or perhaps medicinally. You tell me. You tell me what's the best way to.
Yes. How wisdom is this?
It is technically medicinal salami.
Yeah.
I mean, it's written right there on the tin of the Giuseppe's hard salami. Let's just make a. You can just make a strength check.
Here's where it all comes tumbling down.
Worked really well last time, right?
It's a 0.
All right.
I just hit him in the face with it.
You know what? I love it. Yeah, you try and get it about 10 feet down, but your aim is off a little bit, and it just kind of bounces off of his face, and he doesn't care and continues eating.
Oh, okay. Has he somewhat moved away from the patch O brush and stuff?
So I would say that the mountain lion is probably 10 feet away at the moment.
Okay. But how close are they still to where the creatures were?
10 feet, that's what I meant.
Oh, 10 feet from that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there any gap or hole inside of this little, brush wall that looks like I could squeeze through without disturbing it too much, or?
It's pretty well protected. I will say that. And that is one of the main reasons why these creatures have decided to hole up here is it would be tough for you to get in without taking some sort of thorn damage.
Okay. I cannot fight this thing. My only options are to trick it away with food, which apparently I'm too weak to do, or scare it away. This is the path that people use to come up to this tower, right?
Correct.
All right. I'm going to assume that at some point they tried the Golden Mage and got their ass handed to them. So I am going to disguise self as a small version of the Golden Mage and see if I can scare this thing away.
All right. I love that. You can make an intimidation check, but this with advantage.
19.
Oh, fuck yeah. Great rolls. Okay, so explain to me what it is that you're doing exactly. Like you're dressed up now as the Golden Mage.
Yep. I will walk out, making noise as I do so, and walk up to close to the mountain lion and say, "You are not a threat to any of us." And I will hold out the salami and cast light on it, as if I'm going to zap the the mountain lion with the salami.
um, okay. The mountain lion looks up at you and I am going to make a Hail Mary roll and fail it terribly. Okay. The mountain lion looks up at you and you can see in its eyes that it is immediately afraid of you. Not only in your garb, but it also looks at the now glowing luminescent salami and then kind of cowers a bit and then backs up.
I'll keep moving towards it and shaking the salami.
Okay. And as you do so, it then gets entirely afraid of you as you're advancing on this mountain lion and then runs off into the into the mountains. Now, crucially, it has taken all of the errant salami that you have thrown. So there's no salami on the floor anymore.
Okay, good to know. All right. I will walk up to the little area and just poke my head in, just wave.
As you do so, you can see there are two very small fledgling of these creatures. And in a way, the posture that they are currently sitting in is something that you possibly are familiar with. They are crouched, they are hiding, they are scared. And you can see that as you poke through, even with your gregarious hello sign, they are afraid of you and cower even more.
Does it look now as if I can get through the hole or no?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will slowly make my way through the hole in an unintimidating way till I feel like I am safely inside ensconced. And then I will sit down, staying as far away from them as possible.
Okay. As you go through, you are going to take a little bit of thorn damage, and I just rolled the d4, so that's just going to be one. You take one tiny scratch on your shoulder as you're moving through this. And what you find is a very small hovel of sorts, and they are all the way towards the back of it, up against this like stone back end, and uh, and so you come in and you sit, try to be as unintimidating as possible. I would like you to make an animal handling check, this time also with advantage.
Ooh, not good. 10.
They remain kind of off towards the back, and as you have now come in, and perhaps this is never mind. I'm not going to say that. So they then kind of cower and then grab onto each other, looking at you with complete fear.
I will do the. I will show that I am no threat by turning around and putting my back to them. I'll just sit there
Okay.
and wait.
Okay. So a minute goes by, 3 minutes. And maybe after 5 minutes goes by, you feel a peck in your back.
Does it feel exploratory or aggressive?
Very much exploratory. Yes. It's extremely light. It's almost as though like there was to be somebody trying to maybe nuzzle.
I will not turning around, just in a soothing voice as I can, just say, the kitchen is a safe place for you.
You feel another peck, again, exploratory on the other side of you.
I will slowly lift my arms like this, keep them up, and see if either of them proceed.
Are you sitting crisscross applesauce?
Crisscross applesauce.
Okay. As you lift up your arms, wings.
Well, no, my arms. I don't have wings.
You then look down and you see these two beaked heads come underneath your armpits and then kind of look up at you on both sides.
I will slowly, one and then the other, with my own beak, mimic what I imagine was their pecking, exploratory, nuzzling pecking, and see what their reaction is.
Both of them excitedly jump into your lap and begin nuzzling against your belly. And then as you saw before, that they use their wings to essentially cower together when you first came in, they now use those wings to rub up against your belly as well. And one of them covers the other one with one wing, and the other wings are sort of like wrapped around your midsection.
Second smiles, happy to have won these creatures' affection, wraps their arms gently around them. But then realization hits a little bit about what they may have just taken on. And they say, you butters the biscuits, then you are going to have buttered biscuits.
And at that, you hear loud flapping noises. And there is a shriek. And then we are going to switch away and go to the other crew.
Amazing.
All right. So all of you have had a rather uneventful trip to West Run. You, as I mentioned in the recap, you've gotten around the barricade, you got back on the main road, the Parchwood Way, and you have gone on. Now, I don't want to speak for you, but is there any sort of conversation or questions? I know Hosen, you had said that you wanted to get to know more. We don't necessarily have to do that, but again, I didn't want to necessarily fast forward without your input.
I'm good right now. Like, I think as soon as we get into like a safer place with the family, I think that's priority number one. Um, then kind of like go from there. But I'm good right now.
Okay.
My only follow-up question is, mechanically, have I burned both my wild shapes? Yep.
So I would say no.
Okay.
So I would say there are, what did we say, 9 druids altogether,
Yep.
and it was going to take roughly that much time to get there. So in shifts, I would assume that you would be able to do 1 wild shape per person, essentially.
Gotcha. And they come back on short rests too. So
Correct.
It's
Yeah, and so what we can actually do is say that when you are not in like pulling capacity, you can absolutely take a short rest. So like essentially from a character management perspective, it is a wash.
Got it. that's what I need to know. Yeah, other than that, I'm keeping an eye on the children.
Very
Probably
cool.
playing with the little ones.
All right, Big Mama, anything you would like to do before we fast forward?
No, she's doing the same thing too, just enjoying the ride and taking her option or her turn to be wild shaping as a horse.
Okay, very cool. So here is what I would like to do next. I would like to describe West Run to you all.
So excited.
So Hosen knows a lot of this. And I am going to be checking in with Cinnabon and Big Mama as well, because this is going to be one of your first experiences in this kind of situation. I think it's really important to mention just how big this city is. You've been in Turstfields before, and Turstfields is, for lack of a better term, a village. As you approach West Run, you recognize that it is thousands of times larger than Turstfields. It is a walled city as well, and in which there is one gate that the Parchwood Way leads up to. And in my brain, as I'm kind of talking to you about this, this is where you are in the situation. You're probably maybe a mile away from the gate, and so the first thing that you see is the gate is open. There are guards there, but it is not a preventative measure. It's just sort of like a prophylactic kind of thing. There is an entryway, there's gates, and there's guards and all that stuff, but it is highly trafficked. There are people coming in, going out freely, without really any issue. Beyond that, you do see that there is a section of the city that is relatively working class. Now, Hosen, you would know this, that the outer portions of the city is kind of where the location of the working class is. This is where your laborers are, the people that work out in the fields, the people that are employed by the merchants, the people that are employed by the guilds. That is kind of their location. It is, like most places, it is mostly safe, but you just should be careful. Keep track of your things. It is not a place of rampant crime and whatnot. Now, I am going to say this to Hosen, Big Mama, and Simban would not know this, but just to kind of level set with Hosen's memory of this town. Shh, shut up your mouth. So this is so the working class section encircles 4 major sections, these quarters that are in the center of the city. There are obviously 4 of them, but the one portion of this is the merchant's quarter. So think of this almost like the Miracle Mile, where this is like the most fancy, the best goods, the most high quality products are kind of sold there as a way to flex the power of the merchants there. Other things that you'll find there are different guilds. So there are guilds of any sort of profession that you could think of. Blacksmith or farmers. There's also a merchants guild, and all those sorts of things are located in there. Another section is the new governmental quarter. Actually, Hosen would not know that. Interesting. Okay, so forget that portion. The third section is the temple district, in which all of the deities of the continent are represented. That area also doubles as an educational district as well, but it's important to know that education is not university level, it is more religious based. And lastly, the 4th quarter is entirely devoted to the League of Miracles. There is a central office of sorts surrounded by lodging with many mages kind of coming and going pretty often. And you would know, Hosen, that they all wear white robes. Fifi's establishment is in that merchant's quarter. So if you want to go there, you'll have to go through that like outer layer into the central district. One thing that I did neglect to mention is that the palace that you grew up in is right smack dab in the center. So because you were kind of the seat of the government, that all of those surrounding four quarters kind of were deferential to you, and so you used to live basically right in the center.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, as we kind of like walk in, Hosen is soaking everything in very cautiously, you know, cloak is on, like kind of covering his face a little bit as we kind of march kind of in through the merchant's quarter. Also kind of a wave of nostalgia hits him of just like this weird feeling of coming home, but not really, but kind of sorta. Even though he grew up in the palace, he is familiar with these streets, especially in the merchant's quarter. I think he's feeling safer in this part of town than in the other ones.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, you definitely have not gotten into the city yet.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice. Never
No
mind.
problem.
Cool. Anyway,
That was just that was a download.
download.
Yeah, that's right.
As we
Yeah.
approach.
That's right. Yep, that's right. Okay, before we get into the city,
Yes.
I would like to ask you, Hosen,
Mm-hmm.
what are you wearing?
Definitely wearing the cloak. That
that's all I
Balthazar
needed to
made
know.
me. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. I thought you meant the red cloak. Are you wearing the red cloak?
No, I think what happened was I gave the red cloak to the mages to carry the body of Narsen.
Oh, very
so
cool.
I don't have that cloak anymore.
Okay, I like that. All right. Okay, so in that case, you make
wearing
your way
the armor. Yeah.
You make your way through the gate, and you enter into this working class area. Now, this is because it is kind of one of the main entrances to the city. One of the things that you notice is that there is a large flagpole right in the middle, and it is flying the flag of Westrom. And like this, Hosen, this has been the flag of the city for a very long time. It is, kind of this deep azure color with these kind of yellow stripes across it. But one thing that is on this flagpole that you do not recognize is another flag. And this flag is one that has a white background, and on the front of it is kind of this black symbol that you don't recognize at all. It is a very simple flag, but it is something that you've never seen before. The other thing on this flagpole that you are surprised to see is a body hanging off of it, lashed around the top of it, and secured to the base of the flagpole. You see a fairly large figure, and it's probably suspended maybe 8 feet off of the ground. And there is a sign directly below it, right at eye level. Currently, you're too far away to read it.
I kind of look to the group. I look to the group. Can anyone else read that sign, or is it too far away for us all?
So rolling back for a second,
Please.
We all see that particular body?
Of course, yes.
Cool. The minute Cinnabon sees it, hopefully catching it before any of the kids. Oh, look at all the colors. What are the colors of the walls and literally anything else?
Yeah, sure. Actually, so it's worth mentioning because I kind of cut to the chase immediately, but I do want to spend a couple of seconds talking. This is an incredibly busy city. There are probably, like I mentioned, this is a square, this is the main entrance, and so there are probably 1,000 people going about their business. There are sounds of people trying to hawk their wares. There are like these big carts that are coming through. And in fact, like I think you probably don't have a whole lot of trouble distracting the youngins because they are so stimulated at the moment with all of the sounds, and there are people that are playing music and trying to panhandle as they're playing this music right next to the entrance. Like this is a central heart portion of the city.
Yeah, it's kind of jarring for him. Um, he's certainly not experienced anything like this. Nor the rest of them, with the exception of really the mansion and this pixie party and this mansion that ran in Singorn. So
It's
he's
also worth mentioning that it smells terrible,
oh
like
great.
like sewage.
Lovely.
And let's just focus on that. And just kind of and well, he'll like trail off a bit, and it's like, is everyone all right? I know that it's a bit louder than we used to.
Right. And as Big Mama's hears what Hosen just asked and sees Cinnabon just kind of like distract, the little bunnies, she does like take Hosen's arm, noticing, the body, and she's like, "You sure you don't want to polymorph right now? We'll find a place where we can."
I think after a little bit of a moment, Hosen looks around at all the people gather around, looks at Big Mom Mocha, and is like, I think I'm going to use some protection that my husband gave me and throw up the hood to go more invisible using the stealth mode, as it were. On this, I think I look over to Big Mom Mocha and go, I'm gonna go read that sign. Cinnamon, keep distracting the kids, and I kind of point to where Fifi's like tavern would be, as I go on a quick run over, read the sign, run back kind of mission.
All right, this will be interesting. I am going to message you
Cool.
on Discord.
Yay.
Whispers.
Whispers.
In the meantime, while you're typing that out, someone's going to cast Goodberry and do his typical, and it's all 10 berries appear. No need for us to be hungry. Probably cheaper that way, actually. And pass it out to everyone.
Smart. The sounds are playing on Roll20 right now.
I know, right?
All right. I'm like going
Pretty good.
click,
Right?
Fuck. All right.
Oh no.
Alex, no poker face. Got him.
Cool.
Cool.
I run back over to the group. I lean over to Big Mama Mocha first. Seeing Cinnamon's distracting kids, I kind of look over to Big Mama Mocha. The sign reads, "Protection proven by the League of Miracles. This terrible werewolf has been caught terrorizing the city and has been neutralized. Thanks be to the League of Miracles." It's Cal.
It's Cal. Oh. Dang.
League of Miracles has much of a stronger hold in this town than I thought. And I wait for a moment till Cinnabon's family is fully distracted to rope in Cinnabon and tell Cinnabon all this as well.
He'll hand you a good berry. I'm fresh out. I'm just kidding. All right. I don't even know what to say to that.
Here's what I'm thinking. Cal had evidence of the League of Miracles doing some tasks, and I think the city is quite large. It's a good place to hide, especially, amongst the hustle and bustle. I think your family can be safe here, especially League of Miracles, especially if they decide to lay low here. It could be a good place to hide temporarily. This might be the best spot, too, to find out where Second is, to find where this flower comes from. If we don't feel safe having the family here, we can send this cart back to Terse Fields. We know there's protection there.
No,
and we can take the city on its own.
I think that you're right. And besides, ironically, I suppose, that's what's funny about being ingredients. They don't really care about us specifically. They can just get more ingredients.
Very sad, but very true. The family's not ingredients, but
here's the problem.
I agree.
It's likely to find out Second's location. We're going to need to go into the belly of the beast.
True. Let's ask Fifi first. See if there's any. Hopefully, this flower can provide more information, but of general location. But I don't know exactly where Second would be.
No. But we know they're alive.
Yeah.
I'm not hold on to that for now.
True. Keep making it towards Fifi's then?
After you.
All right. We keep going over.
Okay. All right. So yeah, as I mentioned, you are going to be going through the on my notes here. Okay. So we're actually going to take a break here in a second, but before we get to the break, I just want to lay something out. So I made a reference to something that Hosen doesn't know at the moment, and I think on your way towards that merchant center, you kind of have to walk around the middle of town because that's on the opposite end of town. And as you're doing this, there are two things that kind of strike you as significantly different from the last time that you've been here. One is that there used to be a very robust university section of the town, but that university section of the town has been converted, and what you see is many instances of that white and black flag that was at the very beginning, kind of hanging from these different portions of this section that used to be the university quarter. And instead of seeing students walking around with books and trying to run off to their next class, instead what you see is very, very well-dressed people in suits that are walking back and forth between these buildings, being followed by younger versions of these kind of ambitiously dressed. I'm trying to avoid using nouns that give it away, but but essentially like they're carrying clipboards and running behind these older folks as they are very importantly walking between these buildings and whatnot. The other thing that I'll leave you with before we take our break here is that you can now see the portion of the center of the city that used to be your residence. There is something new about it. Previously, one of the main things that your father wanted to at least provide the appearance of was accessibility, the infamous open door policy. And so there were no barriers between the city and your palace. That has changed because now there is a roughly 10-foot tall cobblestone wall that has been erected, completely encircling your palace. And as you go around, as you're making your way over towards Fifi's in the Merchants District, you do not immediately discern an entrance.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where we're going to leave for our break. The chat is outrageous.
Oh, Zoom chat. Cool.
All right, y'all. We are going to take a roughly 10-minute break, and we will come back to you. Try to do it before 9:20 Eastern. Oh my God! Stop it! Swear. You say the word erected once, and then everybody just jumps all over it.
Long live the salami. Long live the salami.
Yeah, why would the word erected and not salami?
Both
Scroll
words.
up.
Yeah. I even said fragrance salami, you know? Okay, everybody. See you in about 10 minutes. We'll be back.
Bye.
Are we live?
Oh, see, that's comedy rule
always-
of 3, right? That's what that means.
He's like 3.
I just thought that the space between the 3 and the 2 was like 10 minutes.
3,
Who?
2.
Yeah. All right. So
We need
we're
to
gonna
syncopate it.
pick it up with second this time. And so just a quick recap. Second is currently holed up in a hovel with 2 small, and I'm just going to say the word of the creature for brevity's sake, 2 baby griffins that are snuggling up to his to their belly area. And second has just heard kind of a screech and these puffs of wings. And now that you hear this, what does second do?
Second will slowly take his arms off the 2 babies, gently petting them as they do, and try to stand up. I know they're on second's lap, but kind of gently place them on the ground in front of them.
Okay. You gently place them on the ground in front of you, and then the one that you do first, you put on the ground, and then it turns around, it looks at you, cocks its head to the side, and then it hops back in your lap.
I will do it again. More quickly.
Turns around, cocks his head to the other side, hops right back in your lap. And at the same time, you now hear sniffing. Right.
Do I see anything yet in the...
Make a perception check.
Jeez, I'm crushing it. 17.
All right. With the 17, you can see through the brambles, and what you see is a massive mama griffin that is kind of sniffing around the outside of this brambles.
Does there look to be a way that this mama griffin normally gets into this hovel?
Interesting. Why don't you make a survival check?
Dirty 20.
Jesus Christ.
Let's go.
Okay, so with a dirty 20, you recognize that this is not a normal spot for these baby griffins to be in. And I think you deduce that this was a temporary place of solace for them as they were hiding. This is not a place that they normally will be.
Okay. I will pick up both of them and move towards the entrance with them outstretched in front of me as I walk towards it. And I will say, I'm not going to just assume that all griffins are related. I'm going to look for family resemblance in the mama's face and these babies.
Okay, make a racism check.
Okay. I got religion here somewhere. Here I go.
Yeah, so I think there is a golden streak inside of the mama's feathers that you can also see the resemblance inside the babies. So yes, you can make that determination. Question for you: Are you still in the garb of the golden robed figure?
No, because when I had to peck them earlier to also demonstrate the beak pecking, I had to drop back. Yeah.
Fair enough. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I would like you to make a flat animal handling check. As you come out of these brambles holding the babies.
I would like to, just to be clear though, I would like to like hold the babies out of the brambles with I'm still inside the bramble. You know what I mean? I'd like to be like,
Okay,
okay, here's one, and then here's the other, like through a
so
hole. Yeah,
it's kind of like the Homer Simpson meme, but
right. In
you're
reverse.
holding, yeah, right. Okay. All
16.
right. Yeah, 16 animal handling. Um, the second that these babies pop out of the brambles, they um here's what happens. The mama sees the babies, and then I think you still have visibility inside of this.
Mhm.
And so what you see is the mama come down from their current altitude and just grab one of them and rip it out of your hands.
Oh, I let it go as soon as
Yeah,
lost
yeah, I
balance.
figured.
Yeah.
And then the other one as well.
Okay.
And as you are looking through those brambles, you see one of them um, climb up on top of the mama's neck and sort of like hug them. The other one is standing in the middle, in between you and the mama. And with your passive insight, you can tell that this thing is slightly confused. And it
Um,
looks up at the mama, looks back in the brambles, and looks up at the mama.
I will make a little like chewing motion uh, towards the mama. I will also like climb out of the brambles as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speak first.
Okay. All right. So as you do this, the baby that was in the middle walks slowly over to the mama. And you can hear that the claws, even as underdeveloped as they are clicking against the stone underneath. And then gets up to the claw of the mama griffin and starts rubbing its beak up against their foot, and then kind of like goes underneath the body and then curls its head back and looks at you. And as you come out now,
Mhm.
the mama gets its face right next to you. It kind of like charges slightly, not aggressively, but like purposefully towards you, and gets its face right next to you and starts sniffing.
I will cast sending at it. Uh, and say, I do not want violence. All of this world's creatures deserve the protection of the Everlight. Some poor schmuck that got caught up in this. And with sending, if the creature has an intelligence score of at least 1, they will understand the meaning of the message.
Um, I am going to Google this just because, but I'm sure that they have an intelligence of at least 1. At least 1?
That's what it says. The meaning of the message.
Damn.
Whoa. Uh, their intelligence score is literally 100% higher than 1.
All I
So,
needed.
okay, so in that case, I think now you see the one that was hugging on top of the neck kind of uses its fledgling wings to sort of to fall down, not gracefully, but not in a way that's going to get it hurt, and then kind of comes over and then gives you a hug as well. It wraps its wings around your leg, and then looks up at the mama and kind of like makes a sound that you can't understand, but it is definitely something that does not seem aggressive and in fact seems somewhat empathetic. And then the mama takes a step back and then looks not at you, but at the one that is currently around your leg. And you can see that there is some level of understanding in her eyes. And seeing that understanding, now both of the babies are hugging each of your individual legs.
Kind of slowly pet them, but then also give the mom sort of a like, oh shucks, look.
Okay. The
Do
two
I
baby. Yeah,
just
please.
out of curiosity from the, I guess we're in like a little bit of a valley now.
Yeah.
But at any point within the last like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes of a walk in either direction, is there a vista of like lower down in the valley?
Actually, I was thinking that there was one right here. So like if you because that's kind of where the mama came from, is essentially she may have been off hunting or something like that, and then kind of uh came to here following the scent. And so if you go off maybe 15 feet past where the like rocky outcropping and the brambles are, where the hovel was, you can see that there is a pretty large sort of entrance into the air if you were to fly, for example.
Okay.
So now the mother sits back on her haunches, and the two babies go over to her. And she looks at you intently. And then she puts her front claws forward and um and kind of like assumes a lying down position with her wings kind of on the side of her. And the babies get on her back.
I will gently also look to get on her, um, and go towards the like neck area. And I know where I am, and I know where West Run is. I will point. I will point in that direction, and I will send. Ah, you need to go south, but really pointing like down when I say it. Audience with the governmental folks. Generosity is the providence of the heavenly Seren Ray. And look at it like, hmm?
She looks at you, and how close are you at the moment?
To her?
Yeah.
I'm like on her back, like kind of leaning out so I can see her face when I send this.
Okay. She curls her neck backwards, and um and then she pecks you with her beak, and then kind of rubs you with the side of her cheek, and you can feel the wings unfurl, and she runs towards the ledge.
Hide as I can.
So jealous.
And you are in flight now on the back of this griffin with the two babies. And the two babies have done this before, but there's something that is different this time. And they realize that there is a little bit of a like a wind phenomenon that happens right next to you and is cold, remember. And because of the aerodynamics, there is a bit of a an area that is not as exposed right next to your belly. And as you're gripping on for dear life, these two baby griffins are cuddled up right in ostensibly what your lap would be.
So I'll like make room for them and accept the warmth and give them warmth. But also, it's still second. So the moment we're airborne, I immediately cast Death Ward on myself.
Perfect.
Yeah, just hold on.
All right, and you are airborne, and now you can see as you get not necessarily higher, but the ground gets lower, and because you are flying, parallel to like the altitude level that you're in, and you start to carve out down towards the south, and as I mentioned before, towards your left, which would be the east at the moment, because you're headed south, you can see the Umber Hills, the Cliffkeep Mountains now sort of off towards your right, and down towards the middle you see that there is this large like dark colored plains that you assume to be where turst fields and the surrounding farmland would be, and you are headed towards a small speck off towards the southwest, that is nestled up against a few smaller hills. And the griffin is taking you towards what you assume to be Westrun.
All right. I'll lock in.
All right. Okay, we are going to hop over to the rest of the crew.
So great. Oh my God.
All right. So you were headed through the center of town. You saw the walls. You were going to the Merchants District, and let me kind of explain what the Merchants District looks like, and then because Hosen knows where Fifi's establishment, which is maybe you think of a name while I kind of explain this. Wait, hold on. You did last time. It was the Lords, the Leaping Lords, or something like that, right?
The Laughing Lord.
The
Laughing Lords.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so you are headed towards the Laughing Lords. Now, the Merchants District itself is pristine. There are these limestone buildings that are carved out of these large blocks, and typically inside of a city, you would expect, and I think all of you saw this inside of the working class area, that it is dirty. There are smells. It is rather an unpleasant existence, but not in this area. In this area, it is pristine. There are no smells to be mentioned whatsoever. It is as perfect an approximation of a city as you could possibly make one. And as you walk through the streets, these are extremely wide streets with again lots of people walking on them, and they are very fancy, well-dressed people with these rich colored clothes, and many of these people are kind of laughing as they're walking through. You can see that that there are not really a whole lot of carriages rolling through here. Most people are just walking on foot. And Hosen, as you see these buildings after buildings that are more or less kind of replications of each other, there is one building that you see now that you're approaching the Laughing Lords. You know the Laughing Lords because it is different. It is, by all accounts, a standard pub. It is made out of wood. It is rather old. You can see that there are these big windows outside, and this hanging sign hanging from one of the windows, and the icon of the Laughing Lords is there. And that's what you see so far. What would you like to do?
Yeah, as we kind of approach, I look to the group and kind of look around. Is the streets are still bustling, but it's not like as jam-packed as it was earlier, or are they still kind of, or is it still as packed as it was earlier?
Correct. It is not as packed.
Cool.
The population density here is much, much less, and the people that are doing the shopping here are much more fancy. And so you
Gotcha.
do not see any working class people here. This is more sort of the upper crust of the city.
Gotcha. I kind of look around, uh, still trying to like conceal myself and look towards the group and go, so mission is get a table, or not table, get a room, for all of us. Um, and how many nights do we want to book for? Two, three, and just kind of go from there? Or should we say like get us 3 rooms for a week or something like that?
Well, assuming that well, probably not all three, right? The decently sized room for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That probably for a good while, if we can.
Yeah.
At least.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's a big enough room for everyone.
I think I would call that. And she pulls out her book and opens it up and goes, a suite?
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Would
Think
I
they may
know
have
if
one of
the
those?
yeah, would the Laughing Lord have any sweets?
Um, you no, so you know that historically the Laughing Lord was not a place that would have suites, it would have individual rooms.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a suite, but we could probably get a few rooms, and let's get a few rooms. Kind of figure it out from there. Do we want to bring everybody in with us? Should we ask them to do that
Yes.
shape change thing to something a little bit smaller?
I don't think we need to, unless you have a good reason.
I'm just worried. I'm a little bit jumpy right now with the League of Miracles being much stronger in this area than previously.
Well, how do the folk of Westrun feel about rats?
I'm assuming up in this area, probably not super well welcomed. At the same time, it would be much easier to conceal them. If we walk in with a bunch of rats, I feel like we might get turned away. But, I mean, we have bags and sorts. We can put them in there for safekeeping till we get up into the room in less than 10 minutes, I would imagine.
Or were you thinking say there was an infestation of rats?
Or would cats be better? Or other animals?
Cats would work. We might look like, I mean, 3 of us with a bunch of cats, we can kind of sum up a story that we're trying to sell cats to other people and then kind of go upstairs, none the wiser.
Does anyone kind of spin around to the fam? Does anyone feel comfortable with that?
What would you all prefer? Cats, rats, dogs, any other animal?
I think who's the one that says this?
Roll a d8.
Brioche, your very rebellious younger brother.
Yep.
Kind of like
I'm so glad you chose him.
Squints his eyes and looks around, and he says, "Why can't we just go like this?"
I mean, the people in the city, the League of Miracles, I'm assuming, are the ones that kidnapped you. And if they have presence, if someone catches a rumor of you all being out and about, I worry that they might investigate into further. I don't want any more harm to you all, and I want to make sure you all are safe.
Brioche puts his hands on his hips and kind of sassily says, "Well, then it would have been a good idea to change upon entering the city, wouldn't it have been?"
You know what? You're kind of right. Yeah.
He face palmed for a second and then says, "Okay, well, um, I suppose we could do cats, or..." And then he just kind of looks around and sees, this population of mostly humans in this area, and then says, "Whatever we should do it quick, and perhaps in a hidden place."
Yes, good idea. Is there like a side alley we could go down a little bit with the cart, or?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Let's go down here and.
Jesus. I
What
assume.
about like beetles? We can go smaller.
Back
Put
over
them in
to.
our backpacks.
We could go that route.
Mhm.
That actually reminds me. We've actually done that before. Really great when one of those big. Have you heard of those birds called rocks? Not fun to be chased by. Maybe a story for another time.
Mm.
I would love to hear that
Yes.
story. Beetles might work, and kind of put them in our bags and whatnot, and kind of go in, get a room. I feel like if a bunch of us walk in, they're gonna charge us more as well. Also, my camera's very zoomed in. Um, but I think that might be the best bet.
What just happened?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened with
Wait.
mine.
I fixed it.
All right, cool. There we go. Jacob is amazing. I would not. I would have freaked out.
Control C helps because I fucked it up.
I feel like they would charge more if a bunch of us came in.
Right.
That's
So-
fair.
Should just the three of us come in?
I think
With-
so.
With
That
all
makes
his
sense.
siblings. Okay.
Mhm.
All right,
Let's go ahead and get to work.
everyone.
Let's do it.
Giant fire beetles. Ready?
And on your mark, all of your siblings kind of reduce their size into these very small flying beetles.
Yeah.
All right. Inside, and he'll kind of just point to like different parts of his like garments and things.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so then sure. So they start flying into your clothes. There's one kind of nestled up inside of your collar, and it tickles a little bit. And then they all kind of like get inside of your sleeves and whatnot. It is an incredibly cute but also very ticklish endeavor.
Brioche, if you bite me, there will be hell to pay.
You feel one specific beetle wiggle a little bit more than the others.
That's what I thought.
Let's
And
walk in.
By
Jose,
the way,
is
Yes.
anyone going to recognize you in there?
Not that I know of. If I keep this hood up and kind of go about, if we go straight to the bar and say we need rooms and go straight upstairs, and we could kind of recon from there. I feel like I don't think anyone's gonna really recognize me.
And if they do, we've got a bunny covered in beetles. What are we going to do?
That's true. That's very true.
we've improvised
ahead.
before. I'm sure things will be fine.
True.
All
We're
right.
on plan Q, right? Is that the plan that we're on?
I actually wrote it down. Hold on.
Nice.
We're plan K.
Plan K, cool. All right. Let's walk in.
Okay, so before you go in, I just want to clarify one quick thing. So Fifi is your childhood friend, and this is her family's, right?
Correct.
Okay. Who is going first?
Um, we'll have we'll have Big Mama going first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Followed
Smart.
by.
I'll go ahead and go second.
I'll
Okay.
go last. Hood is
Right.
up, kind of not trying to look. Not be suspicious.
Inconspicuous.
Not be
Sure.
suspicious.
Sure. Okay, so why don't you make a stealth check then?
Cool.
Everybody?
Since
No, just Hosen.
Okay.
Because I don't, unless you are also being sneaky,
Not
which,
particularly.
yeah, I wouldn't think so.
since I have my hood up, can I do it with advantage?
Yes, you can.
Oh, yeah. do, 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 do. Ooh, that is a natural 20 for 30 total.
Ooh.
You're just
Perfect.
broken.
Hosen,
Okay.
can you
And that
have
one
you ever
thing.
lost?
All right. So here's what each of you sees. You walk in, and this is a very modest establishment. There are probably about 12 tables, 6 on each side, and towards the back of the room there is a bar. And on the right hand side, you can see that there are stairs going up to a second level. In terms of the decor, it is more or less non-existent. There do not appear to be any paintings or decorations or anything on the walls. There are a number of bottles of booze behind the bar, and that is pretty much it in the way of furnishings. As it relates to people, you see two. There is one on the left-hand side of the room that is sitting down at a meal, and this meal is pretty extensive. There you can see on the table there are potatoes and hash browns and a good deal portion size of ham that is on the plate. And around them you can see 4 empty flagons of ale and one that they are currently working through. You can't see much about their face because their back is turned to you at the moment. The other person that you see is somebody that Hosen recognizes immediately. Hosen, you see this person, their back is towards you, and they're leaning up against the bar, facing the bottles behind it. And you can see that they are looking at something that is down inside of their hands at the moment. And even from the back, you can tell who this person is. They are a very full-figured, red-headed woman, roughly about 6 foot in height, and they are dressed in a very modest server's garb. You know this to be Fifi. What would you like to do?
Well, see, as soon as we walk in, I think that we all would start making our way to the bar naturally.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hosen, are you still keeping your hood up?
Yes.
Okay.
At the current moment.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
I think someone
Who's going to
whispered,
take charge here?
Is this where we're supposed to sit?
Let's go up to the bar and ask about the rooms first, and then
All right.
let's do that.
Yeah, let's all. And then so Big Mama tries to, hoist herself up onto the stool to get it to sit at the bar.
I
All
think
right.
Hosen does the same, just like hood down, just like sitting at the bar.
Concerned that he will smish four of his siblings, Cinnamon will stand.
Fair.
All right. So Big Mama, with you sitting down first, and I assume probably closest to Fifi, Hosen, because it seems like you're trying to be incognito, I imagine you would be furthest away. But correct me if I'm wrong.
I think I'll sit next to Big Mama Mocha. I think,
Okay.
like, scoping out the situation, knowing that's a little bit more empty, like, Hosen still, like, has his guard up and doesn't really know, like, he wants to talk to Fifi at some point, but, like, not sure when is the right time. So I think he's playing it safe and cautious and trying to get the room first before introducing.
Sure, fair enough. Okay, so when you sit down, Big Mama, you kind of startle her, and she kind of looks over at you, and what you see is she is writing down some sort of doing some sort of math on a napkin, and she, seeing you sit down, puts her writing utensil down, looks over at you, and what you see in front of you is this beautiful curly red hair with these freckles and these very distinct laugh lines with a very, very tiny little nose. And she looks over at you with these brown eyes and says to you, now, what brings you all in here? She stands up.
Well, where I live, coming to a place like this, you just got to do some kind of, big city vibes. And so I just wanted to come here and visit. And I heard that this place was a great place in order to stay. And I feel dumber than a bucket of spit and just as useful, but I'm not quite sure on how to do this. So how do I ask for a room? Do I just say I want some ale and then a room? How's it go?
She very demonstrably walks around to the other side of the bar and then holds out her hands kind of like out to the side as she grips onto the bar then, fully owning the space that she lives in. And she smiles at you and says, I think that it's however you'd like to do it. And she says, let's start with a drink and then we can work from there. How about your friends there? And indicating to Cinnabon and to Hosen.
Yes, hello. I would I'll take an ale wine.
One of each is what he's meaning.
Oh, right. Yes.
An
Sorry.
ale and a wine. Okay. And she, fills up a flagon of ale, and then she pours a bottle of wine to you. And
an entire bottle of wine.
And then she pours she pours a glass of wine and then leaves the bottle for you.
And I'll take an ale as well.
All right, she provides that to you.
What do I do first?
Well,
try a little bit of each and see which one you like best.
Yeah.
We'll taste the ale first.
And
okay. So you taste the ale and it is bitter. It is carbonated, which I don't know. That's a feeling you've ever experienced before. And there is a feeling that is almost forced upon you as this goes down your throat, and it kind of starts in your belly, and there is I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
That sounds wonderful. Oh, that's amazing. Natural 20.
Let's go. All right. So this feeling that starts in your belly kind of bubbles up and comes into your esophagus, and you are able to suppress this carbonated burp that was about to come out through your mouth. You swallow it. Doesn't taste very good. And after a couple of seconds, your head feels a little warm. That's pretty much it.
Think that This is for me?
Yeah. What looks like you did is that you took a guzzle instead. So let me take that. And so she goes ahead and takes the ale from Cinnabon and passes him the glass of wine. That right there, you sip it slowly.
All right.
Let it wash over your tongue. Try it.
And he'll like sniff it first. What's it smell like?
It smells like there is a sweetness to it, sort of like
Ooh.
vanilla, maybe a little bit of acidity to it as well. So the combination of that vanilla and acidity is extremely interesting.
And he will take a small, big Mama Mocha advice sip.
This one agrees with you. It goes down smooth. The flavor is complex and it is delightful as it goes down to your belly. The lack of carbonation, I think, helps a lot, and it also kind of warms your belly, and yeah, there you go. You only take like a tiny sip, right? Okay, yeah, you feel a little bit warmer, and especially after the tragedy, the journey, the toughness of where you have been over the past, I don't know, week or two, it starts to kind of melt away a little bit.
You kind of see his ears like droop down, and does the smell and the taste match up, or is it different?
Yeah, it matches up. I don't know, man. I'm not a wine guy.
Yeah. I do like this one. I think I've had something like this before.
They have something like that back home?
I haven't had a lot of it. He'll just kind of say like, "Don't worry, I'll leave some for you all. Don't worry." One time, my mother, behind my father's back, snuck me some drink, and it tasted a little bit like this. Not quite the same. It was a while back, though. It's nice.
Good.
Mine's good.
Wonderful. Now, cheers to that. So she holds up her mug now.
Mm-hmm. Cheers.
To second.
To second.
To second. And
we'll find you, mate. I promise.
So I think Fifi looks at the three of you and again, still not seeing through your disguise, question mark.
Yeah, like I just look like Aragorn in the back of the tavern, just
Yeah.
like could
Yeah, for
just
sure.
It's
Yeah, she says
Strider.
Strider.
So what? You're obviously not from this area. You said you're from, not even from this town. And you, looking at you, Cinnabon, don't seem to have ever had booze before. Where did you come from? What are you all doing here?
we are we're traveling alchemists.
Deception check, please.
Love it.
Let's see. Deception. Here we
begins.
go. Ooh, dirty 20.
Tis the season.
She says, alchemists. Oh, wow. So as she leans in real close and she says, "So, what is the secret? I mean, iron into gold. That's pretty unbelievable stuff. How do you do it?"
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me.
And also, why, if you can just create gold however you want? And she now gets like, she leans back incredulously and looks at all three of you, and now like you can see her brain sort of creating the math equation, and she's like, "Why aren't you dressed better? And why did you come in here?" Like, she's now calling into question all of this, even with a dirty 20 deception check.
Oh, we will. Well, with alchemy, you need to get ingredients. So we are dressed for the forest, and we had to forage and get all of the ingredients, chemicals, herbs, spices, metals, all the kind of accoutrement that you need in order for us to go ahead and be as we are.
She's super bought in, and she's like, "That's so smart." And she's whispering now. And then she kind of leans over and says, "You all probably shouldn't just be telling people this. Being able to do what you can do, that's real dangerous stuff. People will want that." And then you hear from the guy that is at the table, "Fee, more ale," as he slams down the flagon that he was drinking. She walks over and starts filling up another one. She says, "Excuse me," and she goes and brings it over.
Big Mama Mucka, you're so good at this. I can't.
Oh.
I'm so scared right now.
That was so quick.
That was so quick.
I was just about to just sit here and just do this.
Yeah, I'm nervous, and you're really good at this.
Thank you. I just read books. That's all I can say.
Well, it's paying off.
Good.
And she comes back, and she says, "Well, so you all are from out of town. I suppose you probably need rooms, right?"
Yes, please.
Mhm.
Yes.
We're seeing if maybe we can get 2 rooms. Is that what we were thinking?
She kind of gestures to the emptiness of the room, and she says, "There's not a lot of demand, so 2 rooms is more than enough."
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
That'll be 6 gold total, 3 each.
Okay.
I
And
got
that
this
will be
one.
per night or for
Oh, thank
you're
you.
so nice, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And then Big Mama Mocha just kind of slyly just tries to elbow Cinnabon.
You may have killed my sister.
I pay up the 6 gold, place it on the table. Sit there for a little bit.
She picks it up and then says, "Well, I do apologize in advance. The rooms are not perhaps what they used to be, but they should get the job done if you just need to take a rest."
Well, we don't really know what they used to be now, do we?
That's true. That's true. And she kind of looks forlorn off into the distance, and then she takes the 6 gold, pockets it, and then she goes into her other pocket and pulls out 2 keys and hands them over to you. You'll be in rooms 6 and 7 upstairs.
Thank you.
My favorite numbers.
Pardon my intrusion. Is something the matter?
Roll a persuasion check.
Sure. That's a natural 18 for 18.
Nice.
She says, isn't it obvious? We don't. And again, she kind of gestures out to the very empty room. She says, we don't get a whole lot of customers. And I'm afraid it's not going to be long until we go under. My father is currently taking on a second job just to try and keep this place afloat, which is not doing very well, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, perhaps we could, assuming we have a great experience, spread the good word.
I don't know that that's going to help. I think it's inevitable.
Oh.
I think my father and I have to get used to the thought of doing something else. Just don't know what that is just yet.
Hosen kind of still peers down, hearing these words. Says, it would be a shame because you and your father are some of the nicest people I've ever met. And hospitality is your true strength. As I kind of lean my head back and pull the cowl a little bit back to show my face to Fifi for the first time.
Only because I was simultaneously, every time you spoke, I was rolling to see whether or not she would recognize your voice.
Mm-hmm.
I just rolled a nat 20. So
nice.
as you started talking, she started to slowly recognize your voice, because you had only been saying very short sentences, very, very small things before. And now you start talking a little bit more, and she hears your voice. And even before you pull the cowl back, you can see the recognition on her face. And those laugh lines that are in her, like wrinkles inside of her face, start to contract. And then she looks at you, and then she kind of, you could see that she is of two minds. First, she is excited to see you. It's been 7 years since the last time we've seen each other, and she immediately steps forward to try and reach out and grab you, but at the same time, you could see that she looks back at the other patron inside the bar, and there is a moment of hesitation. And that hesitation leads to her looking down at her feet as she shuffles over away from Big Mama and right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume your hands are on the table?
Yeah, sipping on the ale or something like that, just on the table.
Okay, cool. So one of your hands is around the flagon of ale on the handle there, and she puts her both hands around them, and then she looks deep into your eyes and says, "It's been so long. Where?" And she's just completely flabbergasted at the moment.
Let's talk later, or when less company's around.
She looks at you, and now the full understanding of the risk that you are putting yourself in at the moment washes over her, and she loudly exclaims, "Yes, your rooms are right up here." And she kind of starts walking towards those stairs that I mentioned at first. At the same time, she reaches into her pocket to pull out those 6 gold,
mm-hmm.
and she puts them into your hand. And as she does that, that's when she sort of walks away. And then at the same time as she's walking away, she puts the money in your hand. She also sort of slightly pulls on your hands to come with her. And then she starts going upstairs.
No, just keep it. I'll pay you back. And then follows her.
Am I allowed to bring the wine?
Yes.
Yes, come on. I
promise.
bring the ale as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring my pint.
Yeah.
All right. You get upstairs. There is a short hallway with 8 rooms, 4 on each side. And as I mentioned, these rooms are rather small, so the doors are pretty close to each other. And currently, all of the doors are open because there are currently not no vacancies, no occupants inside of this. And then she kind of like ushers the three of you inside of one of the rooms and closes the door behind you. And as she does that, she then jumps at you, Hosen, and she is a considerable bit taller than you, and then she wraps her strong arms around your body, and she says, "I thought you would never come back. I thought you were dead. I don't know what I thought, but God damn, is it good to see you again."
It's so good to see you. And like he starts to tear up a bit. I It's been so long. I don't know what there's so much we need to catch up on. Uh Thank you for letting us stay. Um I'm sorry to hear about the tavern and the bar. I'd like I don't know where to begin. It's
Hosen Zimmerset, just don't worry. Let me introduce myself to your friends here. And she reaches out and introduces herself. Hi, my name is Fifi, and I am a childhood friend of Hosen's. What are your names?
and I kind of nod to them, just like trusting, like it's okay.
Cinnamon Garrist. Pleasure to meet you.
My name is Mocha. My friends call me Big Mama.
Fifi looks at you, Hosen, and then kind of smiles and says, You you finally found a good group of friends, it seems.
I did.
And there's a chair that is it's a pretty standard wooden chair that's over in the corner. She grabs it and then offers it to Mocha, and then she kind of leans up against the wall and she looks over at Cinnabon and you, Hosen, and says, sorry, there's not really a place for y'all to sit. But you could grab a seat on the bed or something like that."
I just kind of lean up against the wall, just like for the first time, like we've been carrying bags and whatnot, and like carrying things around. And I think he just drops his bags for the first time in quite some time, um, and leans up against the wall.
I've been sitting a while. We've had a bit of a journey. As a matter of fact, where's the I believe you call it bathroom or washroom?
That's a good
Um,
point.
right down at the end of the hall. I gotta warn you, it's been a while since it's been cleaned.
Not to worry, not to worry. And I'll be right back, and I'll freshen up in the other room,
There we go.
and he'll go grab a key and go immediately to the room and let everybody out.
Smart.
Yeah,
All right, perfect.
As we're kind of sitting there, Hosing looks over to Fifi. Do you have a second? I have so many questions I would love to ask of you.
She says to you, I have all the time in the world. And at that, you hear from downstairs, and she kind of rolls her eyes and then looks over at you and says, he'll figure it out.
Sounds good. Um, it's been years. This town looks so different since the last time I came here. What was that? Um, the white banner with the symbol on the flagpole. That is a new flag I've never seen before.
She nods her head and says, "Yeah, there has been a lot of changes. Um, that's probably the biggest. That's the flag of what they call New West Run. It's apparently the rebranding, I suppose, of the local government here. They fancy themselves a democratic organization, but we all know, corruption is ever present. And then realizing she said the word corruption, you could see she kind of recoils a little bit, and she puts her hand on her knee and says, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that."
No, it's okay. I'm sorry for what my father did. Um, that's my next question. We didn't get a lot of news in Terse Fields, um, about, you know, the revolution and whatnot, the uprising, as it were. I left the town before that all happened. Um, we got rumors that they stormed the palace, the king was killed. Some said they disappeared, some say they're missing, there's a lot of weird stories. What do you know? What happened to my father? Where's my sister?
She, sitting backwards on this chair, kind of leans back a little bit, and you could hear the squeak of this wooden chair underneath her as she kind of shifts her weight, and then she puts her elbow on the back of it and looks up at you and says, "I don't think anybody knows for sure. You, I don't know, did you see the palace?"
Yeah.
"Yeah, they walled it off after they plundered it. They ransacked the place, stole everything inside of it, and left it there as a symbol to the previous regime that was never to be repeated. The words that they said were that this is a new dawn for the city, that we would never see the likes of the terrible previous government." And they left it to shine in our faces.
All right. Kind of thinks back, kind of shakes his head a little bit. Well, it's it's kind of a weird whirlwind being back here. I'm assuming the family name still has a little bit of a disdain in a lot of people's minds still.
Yes, Hosen, I encourage you, please be as careful as possible. I can tell that you are because you came into my place, didn't even know you were there, 5 feet away. Please exercise the same level of caution. And she's saying this as sincerely as she possibly can, her eyes intensely looking at you. She reaches out again and puts her hands on your knee, and you could feel that there's a grip that is born completely out of concern. And she says, "I don't know what people think of you, of your family, of your legacy, or any of those things, but the last thing that you need is for them to find out. And then, who knows? You could be made an example of, or who knows, suffer the same fate as your father, whatever that is."
Mhm.
But they're, and she kind of like takes a couple seconds to think about it, and she says, if there's anywhere that has anything definitive about what happened to your family, it may be inside of that palace. You may need to find a way in there.
I figured as much. That might be the only place that knows what really happened. We It's been a long journey to get here, and we still got a lot of there's just so many questions. Um, Another thing, he rummages through his bag. He pulls out a flower, the flower. We're looking for a friend of ours who went missing, and the only clue that we have is this flower. Um, do you happen to know what it is, or maybe someone who, if like I know there's botanists in town, right? There's got to be, or somebody who might know.
So I planned on rolling to see whether or not she would know.
Mhm.
And I got a nat one, a
Love it.
natural one. So
Doesn't get that much, Fifi.
yeah, no, she has no idea. She says, well, it's been so long since I've even left the city limits. Now, there are those that operate apothecaries. You may be able to check with them. There is a guild inside of the merchant district that may be able to help you.
That might be a good place to go check out. About what else can you tell me more about the palace walls? I mean, I don't know if you've seen anything else, like how I'm assuming it's very heavily guarded. Like, have you seen any weak points? Have you like witnessed anybody going in and out of there, or is it just walled off completely?
She says, are you kidding me? That place has been looted and ransacked long ago. There's no reason to guard that.
Interesting.
They only keep that as a symbol to the destruction of the previous regime. Again,
Gotcha.
no offense. And
None taken.
she says, I don't think anybody has been over the wall since they put it up about 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, who knows? I don't think that there's any discernible entrance.
Gotcha. Good to know. Sorry, so many questions here. If you have to go for it, but
No.
one more.
I have a question for you, actually.
Yes.
You said you went to Turst Fields. I don't think I don't think I knew that. Why did you go there?
Um, well, 7 years ago, um, I had a fight with my father about corruption, about everything that was going down, and how I did not stand for it, and I left it all behind. I wanted to leave. I wanted to get out of there. He was very adamant that I would not leave, and so I snuck out. I myself and Balthazar, we left the city, got a nice little homestead up there, and have been living there ever since. We wanted nothing to do with West Run. We wanted nothing but to get away from it all. Looking back, I wish I could have been here to help you, to help the people, but it's was nice to have the quiet life for quite some time.
She she recognizes what you said, but then she looks concerned for a second, and her eyes widen, and then she looks at you and says, "Are the rumors true? Is there a drought?"
There is.
Her shoulders slump down, and then she kind of looks around her surroundings and says, "Well, that's it then. That's the end of the Laughing Lord." She slaps her hands down on her thighs and says, "We could barely make enough money when food prices were regular, but now I don't know. I don't know how we're going to survive." And then you could see her brain start to put two and two together, and then sort of expand out, and then she starts thinking, Jesus, it's not just the Laughing Lord. This is a problem for all of Taldorei. And then she looks at you direct in her eyes, and you as well, Big Mama. And she says, "We're all going to starve."
Well, uh, hopefully not. We think that the League of Miracles might be behind all of this. I, I hate to give too much away, but League of Miracles is not too great of an organization, and we want to stop it. We want to help end this drought. There's really looking back on it. Taldorei is in trouble, and we were able to help as much as we can, but I don't know how long it's going to last.
She looks at you and like mouth agape at what you just said to her. And she then whispers to you, "Shut your fucking mouth about them."
Okay. Why?
They have eyes and ears everywhere.
Question for you, Bill.
Yeah.
As a rogue, I have thieves' cant.
Uh-huh.
We never really deciphered where I learned it.
Correct.
Can I grab a piece of paper and write like a secret language that kids write and like hand it over to Fifi, thinking she might still know the secret language we came up with as a kid?
I love that. Yes, let's do it. 100%.
Cool. I would love to write like whatever like written language that we came up with. When you say eyes and ears, how do they know what's going on in this city? How involved are they, essentially?
She writes back in this childhood code language that she doesn't know the extent to the reach, but she has had acquaintances say things that were critical and that they disappeared.
Gotcha.
And it happened frequently enough that the pattern seemed to be self-evident.
Is there any rumors about where they're disappearing to?
Nope, just gone.
Got it. Back in Tersfield, when we encountered the mayor said that there was going to be a meeting with the League of Miracles. is that like with the League of Miracles being so big in the city, is it like a public thing, or do I discern it was like a more of a secret meeting kind of a deal?
Why don't you retrospectively do an insight?
Interest? Yeah.
Yeah, insight
I'm
check.
very interested in this bill.
Automatic natural 20.
Automatic. I got a 4. Looking back on that stressful situation.
Hey, what can you do?
Yeah, I don't think you can discern it either way here.
Cool. Everyone's rolling high, and then here I am. All right. Yeah, that's fair. Do. Cool. I kind of look over to Big Mama Morgan. Also, I'm assuming Cinnabon like took care of the family and came back. I don't know if Cinnabon, if you wanted to be here for this entire conversation. No.
I mean, Jacob wants to be in every conversation, but no,
Fair.
he gotta check in with the children. So no.
Cool. Yeah. I kind of look over to Big Mama Mocha. Is there anything I'm missing? I explained like the little children like secret language that we came up with. I could write down any questions you have. And I explained all the stuff that we've been talking about, the League of, not talking about the League of Miracles, but just being like, we are talking about the people we have encountered recently, and just kind of allude to it. Any questions you want to ask her?
I would say, what's one of the best ways to stay hidden, if not disguised, while we're here, especially you?
Good question.
The question was, where's the best place to stay hidden?
Or even disguised. Yeah, just in case if we start poking around, you know what I mean?
Yeah. She says, well, you all can stay here for a bit. But I feel like your profiles and she kind of like raises her eyebrow a little bit when she says the word profiles, are a bit out of sync with the people of the Merchant District. You might find more cover in the outskirts of town.
Good to know.
But please feel free, as long as you want to stay here. But just know that the longer that you're here, the more exposed you are, and the more risk you're taking on.
One last question. My father dealt with a lot of underground seedy individuals. These people that dealt with items not very genuine. Is that still a thing in the city, or was it completely snuffed out?
I know that the new government tried as best that they could. And honestly, to me, I never was involved in that, so it's tough for me to say either way.
Mm-hmm.
But they did their best.
Gotcha.
Rumors seem to indicate that it's not as prevalent as it once was, but who knows? Maybe that's just an indication of being better covered.
All right. I think that's all the questions I had. So much has changed in the city. You would hope that I really wanted to hear good things about the city, and especially how terrible my father was. It's the people of the city deserve better.
She nods and then looks back at you and then says, that's the thing that's really important to remember, is that, sure, certain things about this city has changed. But the one thing that remains the same is the spirit of these people, and I think that's powerful enough to get them through anything.
That's fair. I need to talk to my friends for a little bit, but it's really good to see you.
You hear from downstairs, "Fee!" And she says, "All right, it's probably time for me to go." And she stands up, and then bends over, gives you one last hug, and kind of whispers in your ear, "It's it's really good to see you, but take care of yourself here."
Will do.
And then she goes downstairs.
Oh, one last thing. Before you go, it's Sunhelm now, not Zimmer's End.
Sunhelm. Hosen Sunhelm. That has a bit of a ring to it.
Right?
And then she smiles, gives a little wave to Big Mama, and then goes downstairs.
Hosen kind of sits on the bed, really deep breath in, deep breath out. Like, oh, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah, you got some daddy issues.
Fucking tell me about it. Goddamn. I really. We should check in on Cinema. Let's kind of.
Let's go next door.
Yeah, let's go next door. Across the hall.
Cinnabon, what have you been doing since this conversation's been going on?
Well, since I was in that scene, you want to switch to Smitty first before coming back to me? Up to you.
I think Smitty is going to be the button.
Cool. So yeah, he opens the door and sort of like as he walks in and closes the door. All right, coast is clear, and then just kind of like. And not like shakes everybody off, but just like lets them
blinks one of them.
All right, so these very small flying beetles kind of jump off at you and land over various parts of this room. One is on the wooden chair in this room. There are two that's on the bed, kind of all over the place, and then pretty much instantaneously they all de-shape out.
Sure.
And then you see Brioche that's then kind of looks up at you and says, I was a bit concerned about being a beetle, but I think that worked out.
Yeah, it did. Here's the concern, though. Now we're here. And I have to be honest, they seem really nice, and now I'm starting to feel really bad about it. So that's one thing. The second thing is, as we figure out once we get our friend back, this is going to be home for a while.
Honeybun kind of is a little bit forlorn as she kind of stands up, and each one of these rooms also has a little bit of a window. It's tiny.
Yeah.
Maybe the size of a magazine or something. And she looks out the window and says, as she kind of looks back at you, what are we doing here in this city? It's so oppressive.
Yes. Well, what we're doing here, HB, is we're keeping a promise. Now, it's a bit unfair to all of you, but the reason is that Jose and Big Mama and Second are the reason why you're all here. And I made a promise that I would help these people. And before we figure out what's next, we need to resolve that. Now, I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't even know where to start looking for our friend. So we may be here a while.
at the mention of we might be here a while, you see Dumplin kind of crawl up on top of the bed and then jumping up and down on the bed itself. And he is chanting the word promises, 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 promise. And then you see Lucky kind of like reach out and grab Dumplin and sit him down and say, "That's enough. There's adult talk going on." And at the same time, Brioche kind of looks up at you and says, "Listen, they risked everything for us." And Rose then looks around at all the rest of the siblings and in sort of a motivational way says, I think it only is fair that we risk this for them. And you see like nods going around the room. And then Honeybun kind of speaking up as almost a spokesperson for your siblings, says, Cinnabon, you just tell us what and where, and we'll be there.
A beetle army. Who knew?
Dumplin takes out an imaginary crossbow and just kind of starts shooting crossbow bolts around the room.
I think he even just goes,
And at this point, Hosen and Big Mama come into the room.
I relay all the information that like
fucking
spilled
Kramer.
tea. Yeah. Spilled, just busted. I come and tell them everything that we found out about Fifi, about the palace, about the apothecary, about the quarters, everything, and whisper about the League of Miracles, to tell them to keep a hush tone about it, and kind of relay. So I think maybe the best course of action, try to find an apothecary that knows where this plant is from and find out, get a better location about where Second is. Have we heard from Second? Has anyone sent? No?
No, I haven't seen one since.
All right. Hopefully they're safe. And what do you all think? Yes.
In my mind,
Mm-hmm.
is heading that direction. Let's back up. What's the first thing on our priority list? Getting Second back, right?
Correct.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Is it safe to assume, I think, a bit of an anomaly if both resolving the League of Miracles situation and Second's location at the same time is a bit much. So, knowing what you know about your Feng home and this apothecary, are either of those two locations the best way for us to find out where Second is? Is there somewhere else that we should be checking first? Because in my mind, this goes back to my belly of the beast comment earlier. Because neither of those two things are within that, right?
I guess so. I think I'm hoping that the apothecary can tell us the general location of this plant. We can try to leave town and head that direction. I want to know what happened to my father badly. I want to know where these come from. I want to know what's inside that palace. At the same time, I don't necessarily think it will lead us to Second, as much as finding out where this comes from.
Okay. So in that case, is there perhaps someone that we could convince into telling us other locations that the League has strongholds in, and we can start to maybe check them off.
That's a good point.
I don't
We
know
can.
how often Ahmed Kenku of the Everlight come around, but I feel like we can eliminate many locations. Then again, they are really good at hiding. So this could be earmuffs. He looks at Dumpling. Could be toe shite.
Possibly. What do you think, Big Mama?
Whatever y'all decide, I'm with you.
Another thing we talked
Through and
about
through.
too. Another thing we thought of was taking I could take another huff at this and hold out the plant, see if I get anything else, and maybe that might find something.
Cinnamon will take a sip of wine. By the way, did anyone want to try this? Yes, Dublin, even you. It's been a long few days.
True.
Yes, Sesame. Yes, you. Yes, all of you.
Yeah. Dumpling is like jumping up at your legs, trying to like grab it.
Easy. It's a finite amount of liquid. I was really against this, but I think I'd like to give it a shot.
All right. Let's. I think for group's prosperity sake, I think my priorities are find out where second is and get them back. Also,
Yes.
protecting your family, Cinnabon. I think maybe hanging out here is great and all, but this is probably the stronghold of the League of Miracles. And after we find out what information we can get to find second, I kind of want to get them out of here as well.
Oh, that's a good segue. We had a bit of a conversation, and I think if I speak for everyone, we want to protect you too.
Thank you.
Now, question. We'll get second back, of course. Who is the very next person that we need to find in this city?
I think if we want to take them down, if we want to go, I mean, I'm still down to hunt for that mage and Yeti, wherever they went.
I think the mage is the right person to start.
Either
You think
we
they would
can,
be here?
Who knows?
could be. Want to figure out where these come from, point to the tattoos. We can maybe go. My father was obsessed with these tattoos, even more so than I was. There's probably some records inside that palace that can point us to where that is. We could also try to infiltrate the League of Miracles and try to go into that building and try to find out information through them. We know the mayor was trying to meet with the League of Miracles. I don't know if it was a secret meeting or just like a public event that they wanted to show. God knows that they like to put on shows here.
All right.
Do you know where the mayor would be?
No idea.
What about your father?
No idea.
Do you know if they're in the city?
Knowing him, he was extremely tied to the city. The fact that kind of looks up to the kids and kind of whispers, the fact that there's no body on a pole or his head anywhere. He could still be in the city.
Or
Mine,
he was
wait.
the previous example, and this is just a new subscription.
True.
Not to speak ill will of your father.
I have a lot of
Okay.
complicated feelings about my father, but also definitely would not surprise me. So,
I think they would probably have strung him up too as some sort of narcissistic approach to setting an example, teaching a
yeah.
lesson. The reason why is I'm asking all these questions because I want to see if I can sense someone who's near us and seeing which is the way or who would be the one I could try to suss
Try to
out where
connect
they
with.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking?
Weird
Yeah.
thought.
Hmm?
That mage that the mage that we let go way back, and were they ever found, or were they just like, did Cal ever find them? Do we know?
You don't know.
Maybe that mage could be in the city. Say hi to an old friend.
That's fair.
Right.
I was also thinking of taking a page out of Second's book and maybe reaching out to the Wild Mother.
That is also true.
You pray I find.
I don't know yet. Desperate times. Desperate measures.
And more wine.
And at that, we are going to zoom out from Westrun. And we're going to go over to Second. Now, Second, you are flying on the back of this griffin. The gray dot that you saw at the very beginning is getting larger and larger. You maybe estimate you could be maybe half a day's flight away from there now. And again, those babies are kind of nestled up against you to share the warmth of your body. And I want to ask like, what I kind of want to bookend tonight's episode asking about Second's state of mind. Now, this is a significantly different situation. Second is kind of in pursuit of his friends now. It seems like things are working out okay. Where is Second's mind at as they're on top of this griffin?
I don't think that much has changed for him. I think, if anything, he's pushed further into the mindset, or they have pushed further into the mindset of, well, taking care of myself again, figuring out a way myself, contemplating whether or not West Run's even the right place to go. But mostly just trying to hang on and just sort of zoning out. Honestly, it's been a lot, so I think they're just being.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, maybe what it is you are, zoning out, your eyes kind of going in and out of focus as you are kind of looking off into the distance and then kind of getting caught up in your own thoughts and oscillating between the two of those things. And during one of the moments when you come back to focus, as you are looking out, you are closer and closer to West Run. You notice something. Off to your right, you see something familiar that is flying along with you. You see a small black bird that looks over at you and caws and then continues to fly alongside of you. And that is where I would like to leave it for the evening.
Nice.
Dope. Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Lord of mercy.
All right. Cool. Let's do some around the horns. Start out with Alex.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Wild episode, start to finish. My name is Alex or Ziva RPG. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter. You could catch me every Tuesday with literally the best table I could ask for ever. Love these people so much. Thank you all so much for being here.
Fantastic. Okay, Rain, you're up next.
Me, I am Rain. I am Virgo Rain on Instagram and on TikTok. So please follow me for all of my mermaid and cosplay adventures.
All right. PB Smitty.
Hey folks, PB Smitty here. I deleted my last social media app this week, so what's up?
Amazing.
Smitty can only be contacted by radio wave, carrier pigeon, and
Smoke signals.
That's right. How about you, Jacob?
Hey everybody, Jacob Plick, Duval King Jacob here on everywhere I can be found, Twitter, Instagram, and this is the channel we found here in the Amphitheater. First of all, thank you, Waffle Noodle Syrup and Mini Turning Domain for those raids. Really, really appreciate y'all. Much love to you and your communities. And tomorrow, instead of Duval's Gaming Journey here on the Amphitheater, I'll be hanging out over on This Is How We Roll. Playing some Dungeons and Dragons. That's how we roll, actually. A new 6-week-long, 6-week-long campaign over there. And then, of course, bi-weekly Thursdays on Waffles and Syrup for our Pathfinder game, Stories of the Thousands, Outcast and Outclassed. And just announced on the opposite Thursdays, starting on the 26th of January, our new show, Arkenhold University, Schools of Evolvement, and that other word that I forgot, but because it's late and stuff. But you should come check that out. Just announced myself, April Reagan, and of course Maddie are going to be running that. New cast announcement literally tomorrow. Very excited just for you to see who's next. And of course, always on Sundays on Cinematic Games Twitch, on either Duval on Dragons, our Chrono Trigger 5 EDD campaign. Oh my god, we're getting ready to hit episode 50. Jesus Christ, absolutely ridiculous. And then on the other side of that, Dragonlance Dragons of Rebirth, on the player side. So it's a good time. As always, thanks for being here. Bill, you, what up?
Yeah, you can catch me at my often neglected Bill Adelphia Twitter account. I tweet much more often from the Amphitheater Twitter account, which you should follow if you're not already. You can catch me and Smitty over there every once in a while on Thursday nights as we do AMGMs in PM. Which is our morning zoo radio show type kind of silliness, where Smitty and I pretty much just tickle each other for a tight 50. Beyond that, that is all I got going on. Mr. Jacob, would you like to take us out?
Yes, of course. Absolutely. As always, here on the Amphitheater, before you get out of here, we'd like to remind you of the following truths, and that's that Black Lives Matter, trans rights are motherfucking human rights. Stop AAPI hate. If you don't have a uterus, you don't get to tell people with uteruses what to do with theirs. Mind your damn business. Climate change is real. Read some damn comic books because they're awesome, and part of the reason why you should probably go to the movies sometimes, as long as it's safe. And when you have the opportunity to, make sure that you always, when you can, choose love. Thank you as always for being here. Speaking of Maddie, we're going to go raid that wonderful guy, the place of Star Trek over there. Some familiar cast members of Duval and Dragons and Dragonlance of Rebirth over there. So as always, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody. And we're out here.
Whoa, whoa.